I don't think I've ever shared a story about myself so embarrassing that it changes the way you look at me. I've shared a lot of embarrassing stories with girls and shit that I've had in the past, but nothing that's so goddamn game-changingly cringe-inducing that you vomit and think less of me until today. I was trying to think of a story that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to tell a really embarrassing one today, but I wanted to like amp this shit up to like the highest fucking level I could. So I was going to my past, of which there's a myriad of embarrassing stories to choose, but I wanted to find the perfect one. And then I remembered something that made me sick to my goddamn stomach, so I can't wait to share it with all of you. So to preface this happened in high school. The year is 2011. This was right after my third lung collapse. If you've been following me for a while, you know my lung collapsed 3 times. And the last time it happened was 2011. Well, in 2011, I got surgery to have it fixed. And before I went into surgery, there was a girl I had a crush on that had just added me back on Facebook. And I decided I'd send her like this goddamn scholarly "oorah, I love you" message to her. And we had never spoken. So this girl and I never spoke once in our lives, not even by accident. If I farted somewhere in school, there's no way she would ever fucking smell it because we were never even close to each other in any sense of the word. The only reason we even knew about each other, or rather the only reason I knew about her, was because she was a cheerleader and I played basketball. Other than that, no communication, literally not even eye contact. And yet for some reason, in 2011, I sent this girl the most disgustingly embarrassing messages when I was in the hospital. I haven't read them. I screenshotted them today, and I sent them to myself so I could read them to you today, and we can experience this together as a lesson in how not to ever approach a woman in any way. So allow me, please. Pickup artist legend Charlie is going to guide you through the how-don'ts, the do-nots of women. So let's go ahead and get into these messages here. So ace pussy slang god Charles in 2011 leads with, "I know you and I have never talked, but I just wanted to tell you that you are one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen." Now some of you might hear that and think I came on a little too strong. Looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020, I don't think I came on strong enough. I should have led with "I love you." Signed Charles, and then like a little kiss, and then maybe go from there. So after I said this, she responds with a simple question mark. Nothing else, just one character, a question mark. I was already in the hospital, but if I wasn't, that right there would have sent me into the hospital with fucking cardiac arrest. That shit hurt so goddamn bad at the time. But I mean, what can you expect when someone leads with some shit like this? This is the kind of shit you see on Twitter with like a bad English associated with it, with a "send bobs and bitch lasagna, please, vagina look good with penis" and stuff like that. It's a creepy message. Any girl should respond with a question mark or nothing at all. But anyway, my spirits weren't deterred. I continued. "Yeah, I'm in the hospital and just said fuck it. It's worth a try. You probably don't think the same. You probably don't think the same about me, but I just wanted to say that." That's some nice guy shit right there. Jesus Christ. Well, this is pretty fucking bad. Let's keep going. To that she says, "Oh, I'm sorry," frowny face, "but thanks, I guess. Why are you in the hospital?" I'm surprised she even believed I was in the hospital, to be honest. You got a fucking stranger coming at you, pretending like he's going off to war and sending a love letter out there like it's some goddamn type of anime. If someone sent me shit like this, I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. I'm sure you're in the hospital. What do you have? Small dick syndrome going on? There's no cure. Get out of my DMs. I have recurrent pneumothorax in my left lung. It has collapsed 3 times, and tomorrow I have surgery to repair it." Sad violins playing, I'm sure, when I was typing this. "I just wanted to tell you that before I had the surgery. I know that it is..." Excuse me, I've got to scroll to the next one. It's a little out of order. 2019 Charlie clearly doesn't know how to fucking screenshot things in order. Here we go. "I know that it is a weird way to start a conversation. I also know that I came on way too strong telling you that." Self-awareness, key. Even back then I had it. Even back then I'm like, Jesus, I'm sounding really fucking weird, but I'm still going for it. Didn't stop me. Should have stopped me, to be honest. Yeah, that's the lesson to take away here. Don't do this. You know, at this, when you're starting to recognize like, holy shit, this is too strong and I'm being very weird, just stop. Then she says something very odd. "On behalf of all the YouTube comments, Charles, I hope you cut your hair." I'm not cutting my hair. She didn't say that. I'm just telling you, stop telling me to fucking cut my hair. I want to see what it looks like real long. I want to look like a goddamn lead singer in a mid-2000s emo band. Just let me fucking have this, alright? So anyway, she asks about the surgery and shit. Nothing to talk about there. But then, as we're starting to wrap up, I say, "Just wondering, do you know who I am?" If you don't, I bet this is the most fucked up conversation you've ever been a part of. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a fucked up way of going about things, past Charles. Jesus Christ. I sound like some type of spoiled rich kid. Do you know who my father is? He invented Bing. I'm a big deal. Just please love me, please. God damn it. I'm in the hospital. For God's sakes, do you know who I am? God, these are such embarrassing messages. She says, haha, no, I do know who you are. Like, I've seen you, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. I was a very odd guy, odd looking too. I had this really weird my hair looks like shit now, but back then I had an even weirder hairstyle where I shaved all, like the side, the back, and the top of my head, like it was a one with the clippers, but the front was about as long as it is now. So everything was pretty shaven except the bangs. So yeah, I was a fucking lunatic. It'd be hard to forget it'd be hard not to see me and make fun of me. I was one step shy of like a trench coat fedora wearing fucking loser in high school. I really was. So yeah, it makes sense that she at least remembered what I looked like, because I looked like a goddamn fucking psychopath. So to that I said, "Oh, sorry. I bet this is weird for you, huh?" The only way to make things like this not weird is to keep saying, "Yeah, this is probably weird, right?" That way, it's, takes the tension off. It's like, oh, he's saying it's weird. It can't be weird if he keeps talking about how weird it is. All right, it makes sense. Like, pretty much every fucking line I say in here is about how weird it is, and yet I keep going. To that, she says, "I don't mind at all." So then, in closing, this is my finisher. This is my Mortal Kombat fatality. My big grand finale here. All right, cool. Maybe when I get out of here, we can talk more so I can get to know you a little better. I'm not as weird as this conversation makes me seem. You know. Little pro tip to the ladies: don't take someone up on that offer. They most likely are pretty fucking socially inept. I certainly was, 100%. We never talked after this. I can't imagine why, but we never spoke or anything. Nothing ever came of this, unsurprisingly. However, I'm sure if we did, I would have been still just as socially inept talking in person as I was on the Facebook Messenger. So the lesson, ladies and gentlemen, don't be weird. That's always the advice I give to someone going into college and shit. Just don't be weird. Don't be super forward. Don't be super out there. Just be normal conversations. Let things, simmer, develop, sniff things out. Don't just come in there guns blazing, fucking jerking off. "I love you. Do you love me?" Like, come on. Come on, 2011 Charlie. I look back on shit like this and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I never recognized how bad I was until, you get older. So, it's a pretty embarrassing story. Maybe it's not as embarrassing for listening to it, but for me, recollecting on this, it's fucking bad, man. Like, Jesus Christ. That girl was probably scared for her fucking life, thinking I'd be tossing pebbles at her window late at night at like 2 a.m. "Hey, did you think about me in the hospital? I'm alright now. You want to talk?" Shit, man. Well, that's the end of the story. Another nice tale for the compendium of awful interactions I've had with women, all of which being my fault, from my past. So, yeah, fuck yeah. That's it. See ya. Here's a little touching story for all of you from my past. I believe this was in my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and, puberty was coming in full swing. My body was changing. I was getting hair on my nutsack, my butthole. My height really wasn't changing. I've pretty much been short my whole life. 5'6" has pretty much been my max level cap. Hopefully soon there'll be a new patch or a new expansion set to this godforsaken world where they can increase my height without having to obliterate my fucking legs in some back alley meth lab. But anyway, that's not really part of the story about me being short. Anyway, I was going through a really hard porn addiction phase. I was an absolute porn fiend. And one day before class, I wanted to see some vagina. I wanted to ejaculate. I wanted to just bust a nut real hard before class. But I couldn't. I watched a lot of porn for the better part of 25 minutes, which for me was a bender and a half. Usually I would have come 3 times during that period back then. But on this cursed day, my well was dried up and I had no more semen left to give my boxers. It's also worth noting as an important detail, during this time I never needed to jerk off. I never even knew how. I'd always just ejaculate after getting an erection, and sometimes I'd try different techniques like slapping it around or something to see if that helped the sensations or anything, but I never really jerked off. That's the point here. I could ejaculate using just the power of my intellect and euphoric gamer senses. I was able to just propel cum when I was stimulated visually or mentally. Alright, so now take that little nugget of wisdom and put it in your back pocket and save it for trivia night. It's going to play a major role in the plot a little further down the line in this story. So I wanted to stay home and just ejaculate because I thought something was wrong with me. I thought my dick stopped working or God banned me from ejaculating. I just thought something was awry, and I wanted to stay home, but my parents wouldn't let me because that day we had a school play to perform. It was Hamlet, and I was playing the role of fucking P. Diddy. Who's the character with the P in his name? Palpatine? Jesus, it's definitely not fucking Palpatine. I'm not playing Chancellor Palpatine or anything like that. It's like Polonius. I was playing Polonius, and he gets stabbed, and I guess that's like crucial to the story maybe. So I couldn't miss it. My parents didn't want me to miss it. They'd already planned on going to see it, so I couldn't skip school that day to ejaculate. Plus, that's not exactly a strong reason. I was very forward with why I didn't want to go to school. I was telling my parents, look, I just want to come. No sane parent's gonna be like, you know what, that's a good excuse, Harold. Let's not send him to school today. So I get sent to school. I go through school per usual, and the play was supposed to take place right after school ended. So yeah, I was able to push back the desire to ejaculate and all that for the entire school day and up till the play. And I was rehearsing my lines or my actions. And all of a sudden, all at once, it was like a light switch went off. It was like I was having a fucking Jimmy Neutron brain blast in like the costume room, and all I was seeing was porn. Like my eyes just rolled into the back of my head, and all I was looking at was porn. Like I was Professor Xavier who just jacked into Cerebro, and I was seeing all of the porn that I'd ever seen in my life all at once. And I got hard as a fucking rock. And I knew that was dangerous because, like I said earlier, I never needed to like physically stimulate myself to ejaculate. So I'm sitting there in my Polonius costume on the verge of just blowing a hard load into it right before going on stage, and I'm panicking because we're about to perform this play and I have some shit I gotta do in the play. Like I'd hate to be the guy that gets stabbed in the play, the curtain rolls back, and then all of a sudden I'm just laying on the floor with a boner and a wet spot in front of the whole school and all the school's parents. That'd be terrifying for all of them and myself. So I'm trying to brainstorm ideas. I didn't want to just go blow a load into the toilet because that thought never really occurred to me then. So my plan was to just start chugging water as quickly as I could and just try and pee out my erection. I thought that would work if I just kept urine flowing the best I could. I only had like T-minus 20 minutes till showtime, so I killed like 2 water bottles, and the plan worked. I was able to like basically piss out all of my boner, and I was able to perform the play the best I could. But the lesson here is, no half measures. If you feel like you need to ejaculate, then fucking do it. Get it out of the way, because you never know when it might come back to haunt you. You might be in the middle of a school play, and then all of a sudden you're spitting out baby gravy into your costume and trying not to cry in front of the whole class. Just don't edge for like 9 hours. Just get it done, get it over with, and then be productive for the rest of the day. That's the lesson. I guess the lesson is quite literally jerk off if you need to. That's it. So yeah. It's been a little while since I've told this story, so go ahead and hop on my lap here by the fireplace and I'll tell you a tale. As is common with most of my stories I've told on the channel, this takes place during the period of my life where I thought it was cool to be a mysterious anime character. This was like my early years of college. As you can probably imagine, my ability to socialize during this time was absolutely pathetic. Having a conversation with a magic 8-ball would have been more fun and engaging than talking to me back then. Those poor souls that talked to me back then probably instantly regretted it, because having a conversation with old Charlie was like talking to Alexa if she was overdosing on Xanax. It was rough. Why is this important though? Because this is setting the stage for one story I haven't told yet. I've told so many stories when it comes to all of the fucking weird and creepy interactions I've had with women. All my fault, of course, just because I was so unbelievably socially inept. Like, it's hard to put into words how bad I was at recognizing social cues and how to be, like, acceptable in society. I fucking bought one of those fake cigarettes one time. You know that shit that kids would buy from Spencer's when they were like 12? I bought one of those things when I was 18 because I thought it looked cool and I hated real cigarettes. You know how fucking sad that is? I'm surprised I didn't buy one of those colorful propeller hats and started spinning it to try and look cool or something. It was rough. So what I'm saying is, socially, I was the worst thing you could fucking imagine. But it didn't stop me from trying to have conversations with women. I tried to fake confidence, fake it to make it, and all of that shit. And today's story will be in that ballpark. So this story takes place in a location where all good social interactions take place, at GameStop. So let me take you back to the past when my social interactions sucked ass. This is GameStop 2012, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. I was, of course, Virgin Boy Charlie, if you can even believe that. Some say I lost my virginity before my dad, but the truth is, I was actually a virgin, embarrassingly enough. And I was doing what all virgins did, using Reddit for some advice. And Reddit is one of the worst places when it comes to seduction and just general advice when it comes to human interaction, because it's the blind leading the blind. The people giving that advice, they have likely never talked to a human being before. They're probably getting all of their social cues the same place I was. Fucking anime. So I was using anime and r slash relationship or something. I don't remember what subreddit. And these two things were clashing, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take both of these, do like a little unholy fusion dance, and become this ultra Chad, the product of great advice and great animation. And I was going to channel this and show that, I'm becoming more confident in myself by flirting with girls in public. And I chose my first rodeo to be at GameStop. Before going to GameStop, I had decided that I was going to march into GameStop, right up to the counter to the girl that worked there, and call her beautiful right to her face. I was going to look her in the eyes. I was going to say, ma'am, you are fucking beautiful. You are gorgeous. I don't know what I expected to happen next because I didn't have a follow-up. Maybe I was fantasizing like one of those dream scenes where all of a sudden, like an anime, the girl blushes and then she calls out her 3 twin sisters or something, and they all fall in love with me. I don't know. But that was my game plan. And I was hyping myself up. I was like a football player in the locker room before the championship game, headbutting lockers. I put on a necklace, and I never wear a necklace. I found like this old gold necklace from probably when I was a kid, but my neck is still the same size as a kid's, so it still fit. I spiked my hair up real well, fucking drowned it in gel, and I mean drowned it in gel. I looked like a freshly born baby covered in amniotic fluid up there, and I felt like $1,000,000. Today was the day I was going to say to a girl, she is beautiful. So I hop into my Batmobile and I cruise on over to GameStop. I get to the door, I open it, and it's like everything else just melted around me. Time froze, and there she was, behind the desk, the only female employee at this particular GameStop, and she looked miserable. Probably because she's working at a fucking GameStop, but I was gonna make her day better by being the only man in GameStop history with the confidence to say that she was beautiful. I'm sure she doesn't hear that every day from other socially inept fucking slime balls, so I was going to be the first, the trendsetter. Truly a pioneer. So I meandered around a little bit, just making sure I was building up enough confidence, going over the lines in my head. The line I was going to use was when she was done ringing me up, I was going to say, "Thank you, beautiful," and then wait to see her response, see what she says to this, hoping that she wouldn't call the police or have security come tackle me. So, I finally pick out a game, some used game I'm sure, because I was big into used games for a long time. I slam that shit on the counter because I'm ready. She starts by asking me a couple questions. Am I a member of GameStop Power Plus Ultra program? Well, no, I'm not. She's going off script. I wasn't accounting for this. It's freeform now. The dialogue has been all fucked up. I'm getting a little jumbled in my head. I'm getting nervous. I wasn't expecting to be interrogated by her today. I'm not a member of this GameStop program. Would I like to be? Well, shit, would it help my chances with you? I don't know. I'm going through all kinds of scenarios in my head. It's like a visual novel. There's a bunch of different branching paths I could choose from. I'm panicking. I'm breaking down a bit. My composure is starting to falter. There's sweat on my brow and a tickle in my sack. I was not prepared for this at all. She then asked me, do I want my receipt? Another question I wasn't anticipating. Do I say, "Thank you, beautiful," now? No, that wouldn't make sense because she asked me a question. I can't just respond with I have to answer the question. Everything's all falling apart at once. It's like Salvador Dali's painting where the clocks are melting. I'm running out of time. I don't know when to say this line. And no, I don't really want this receipt. What am I going to do? Wipe my ass with it? I paid $3 for some garbage used game. I tell her, no, thank you. You keep the receipt. And that's when she says it. A sentence that could dampen the pants of any man, even the strongest men. She says, "Thank you for shopping at GameStop." I freeze. I don't know how to respond. I stand there for what feels like hours, looking at the ground, wondering, is now the time? And then I decide I muster the courage within myself, the strength to go forward. I say, "Thank you, beautiful." I'm still looking at the ground when I say this, because I haven't earned the right to look my GameStop queen in the eyes yet. And then I do what any sane man would do. I ran away. I fucking jogged away. Before she could even, actually respond, I started jogging away with the bag in my hand like I just stole the game from GameStop. But I did hear her say, "Oh." I know for a fact she said, "Oh," as I turned my back to run away. I ran all the way to my car, hearing that "oh" in my head the entire way there, got in, slammed the door, and I thought to myself, Charlie, you did it. We just made that employee extremely uncomfortable, and man, do I feel like shit about it. It was a good lesson to learn. That was probably already like the fifth or sixth time that lady had been hit on that day by fucking weirdos like me. She probably just up and quit that day. That was probably the last straw right there. I don't know because I never went back. I was just so goddamn embarrassed about this whole thing, but I do imagine she quit that day. But yeah, I tell you this story in the hopes that people will learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't be a fucking weirdo, and don't, yeah, that's basically it, really. That's about it. So yeah. You ever watch a video that just makes you feel nostalgic? It feels like you transport back in time. That's what happened to me today. It felt like Jimmy Neutron had built a time travel device that took me back to the most embarrassing era of my life. My first year and a half of college. This was the real goofy goober era of my life where I tried to emulate a mysterious anime character and was just genuinely creepy and uncomfortable to be around. I have no doubt my fellow peers were reporting me to the student body as just someone to be aware of as a potential threat. It was scary. Like, it was such a bad idea. I was built on awful Reddit advice and delusion of anime characters. I thought it'd be a good idea. I've talked about it at length before. And today I watched a video that served as a reminder of my shame. And this had to do with the couple of times I went to parties, which I've talked about a little bit. During this period, I did try and socialize to the best of my ability, and I'd argue I was the life of parties when I went out. And by that I mean I made people scared for their lives when I went out to parties. Let me show you a little clip of the video and then dive deep into what I mean. Yeah, so this lady's really busting it wide open on the dance floor here of this local dive bar. She's just going hog wild. I don't know if it's drug related or just the spirit of music has taken over, but she is transformed into the demon of dance. Her eyes are like glossed over, and thanks to the camera, they're like glow in the dark, so it's really intense. And she's throwing out all kinds of advanced maneuvers right there. That's like a million dance moves in 10 seconds. It's like she's trying to go for a high score combo in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 here. But what it reminded me of is how I used to act at like bars and parties back in the early college days, because there was a couple bars near our campus that didn't ID check, so we would go there and I'd try and do shit like this because I thought by trying to be the center of attention, it would be good in helping me get laid. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I'd go fucking wild. I'd start popping and locking. It was like I was doing Wing Chun on invisible enemies, because I didn't really know how to dance super well, but I kept trying. I'd hit like sloppy body waves and shit. And I made a video a while ago talking about how I tried to learn to breakdance to impress girls. So, I'd drop to the floor and hit them with like the 6-step shuffle or whatever. And of course, you know me, I'm famous for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance hot dog. But I'd drop to the floor and just like get after it. Like this. Give them some of that shit. It's just, yep. A little out of breath already. It's been a while since I busted that bad boy out. But yeah, I'd just fucking serve it out on the dance floor there, and no one stopped me. Like my friends that I'd go with, they never told me it was a bad idea, because I think they just liked laughing at it. So I'd spend like an hour doing this shit on the dance floor, looking like I was on bath salts, and I'd never learned my lesson. So when I saw this video today, seeing her go after it like this, I was like, damn, it's like looking in a mirror 8 years ago. Watching her dance is like watching a dog with the zoomies, where they just start like running in circles and going crazy. I mean, hats off to her. Like the confidence to do this and really just go wild at it, I think is fantastic. I always enjoyed doing it back in college, even though I know it made me look very odd to most people, but I still did find it to be enjoyable at the very least. But goddamn, the people next to her are gonna be leaving this bar with scars. The way she's whipping her hair like that shit is an actual weapon. That's some like actual Bayonetta shit, using her hair for offensive attacks. This right here is my favorite moment in the routine. I definitely think this would win So You Think You Can Dance. She hits him with like the praying mantis up here, and then into like a T-Rex arm combo. It's very rare you see a move like that executed so fluidly. So I thought she did a wonderful job there, and I really think it just helped put a nice bow on the entire choreography here. Unfortunately, that's where the video ends, but I'm sure the dancing continued for a couple hours there. She was definitely just getting started. This was only Act 1 of the performance. I think it's great all around. It seemed like she was having a good time. The people around her also seemed to enjoy the show. And I just wanted to talk about it because it reminded me of a silly time during my college days that I thought would be fun to share. That's really about it. I still think I'm one of the best dancers on the East Coast. And yeah, so yeah. I've told many stories about my embarrassing past, specifically about my freshman year of college, where I tried to completely reinvent myself, and I decided to model my new personality after anime protagonists. I went into the Oblivion character creator and set the slider all the way to cringe. Leaving high school, I was socially shy and I wanted a big change, so I went through this metamorphosis to be born again as a social butterfly. And I chose to emulate mysterious anime protagonists, because I thought it'd help me come out of my shell and people would love it. But honestly, I'm surprised it didn't land me in a cell, a padded cell at Arkham Asylum, because I was an absolute fucking weirdo. I have no doubt the students around me probably thought I was a potential threat to the campus. But anyway, I saw this clip today from a new college freshman being interviewed, and it's clear to me that he tried to do something similar to what I did, and it was like looking in a mirror.
For the month of February, we have our new Poet Spotlight, and for this month, we've chosen a new student who calls himself Claimer. His name is almost as much of a mystery as the things he carries around in his pocket. From his Shakespearean dialogue to his plaid jacket, this kid is probably one of the biggest characters you will meet on campus.
The way they intro Claimer here sounds like some kind of quirky uncle from an old fairy tale. His name is almost as much of a mystery as the things he carries around in his pocket. Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and spill the beans here. If you're described as being a character, most of the time it's not a good thing. Being called a character is just a nicer way of being called fucking strange, and not in like an endearing way, but a way where it's difficult to come up with a real compliment, so they're just like, what a character.
Let's get some details from him and some of his friends.
Probably the thing I like the most about Claimer is that he's not afraid to show his unabashed oddities. The thing that make Claimer who Claimer is.
When watching his friends be interviewed, I just got the feeling that they were very uncomfortable with it, so I thought perhaps Claimer had kidnapped their family and was threatening them like, listen, you're going to mention my oddities and how cool they are, or else. It just feels like he's behind it, like he's still pulling the strings.
For instance, his jacket that he wears all the time, I'd like to call it the coat of many pockets, because it has so many pockets, and each one of them is filled with just the randomest crap you could find. Like, he has a bag of metal wrapped in a Norwegian flag. How do you explain that? That's only something I can imagine Claimer doing.
I can easily explain that, actually. He's going for a RAR XD so random approach to living his life. This video is about 10 years old, so it's certainly more popular then. Like, that's half of the shit I used to do in my old gameplay commentary videos, is just combine random shit like tongue of elephant, cum, butthole, wiener. And Claimer has taken that energy and put it into his pocket. I really also feel as though this man is trying to remember lines that Claimer was feeding him. Like, he had some kind of bug in his ear, and he had Claimer on the horn, like, listen, talk about my coat. It's the coat of many pockets, which is a banger name. His proficiency in naming things cannot be understated. That shit slaps. He calls it the coat of many pockets because it has so many pockets. It sounds like some kind of treasure out of Harry Potter.
He carries a rubber chicken in his pocket, tarot cards, scrap of metal. I always feel safe walking with him in Uptown.
Why would you feel safe walking around with him? It sounds like he is the danger. He's got a fucking rubber chicken, a metal pocket, tarot cards. This man is ready for a spiritual war to break out at any moment and engage in some kind of paranormal battle.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a JoJo stand with him too. You should not feel safe around him because he could be attacked by assassins at any moment and you might get caught in the crossfire. Also, why exactly would that make you feel safe in any capacity? Let's just say there's a ne'er-do-well that approaches both of you with a knife and he's like, give me all your money in the wallet. And you're with Claimer. How the fuck is Claimer going to protect you with the things he has in his pocket? What, he's going to get out the rubber chicken and start honking it at him and scare him like a dog? Like, what is he supposed to do? Get out his tarot card and be like, wait, I just drew the death card. You're dead now. Like, how would this at all make you feel safe? I guess maybe his metal pocket, if he took out the metal and threw it at the guy, it could hurt. But it's still not enough to keep you safe.
I'm here with new freshman, Claimer, and you're in the play, right?
Indeed.
How's that going?
Well, it's going chillfully thus far. I'm not. It's a little soon to tell, but I'm feeling good about it.
The man, the myth, the legend, we get to hear from the real Claimer in the flesh. The benevolent deity on college campus who's keeping everyone safe with his coat of many pockets. I love the way he starts this. He immediately goes into like an indeed, like Heimerdinger from League of Legends, and then he's trying to put on a very interesting performance here.
What's your role in the play?
I play Elvis. Indeed.
Tell us about that character.
It's Elvis Presley, the famous 50s, 60s, and 70s person.
And what more really needs to be said about Elvis Presley? Claimer is playing him and doing him justice. In fact, I would argue that Claimer is a better Elvis Presley than Elvis was himself. Now, I really do see a lot of my old self in this guy, and for what it's worth, I looked up what Claimer's doing these days, or at least tried to because this video is so old, and from what I can tell, he's actually been in a couple of movies, and it seems like he's a good sport about this whole thing, so all power to him. This is definitely one of those things that you look back on and you're like, oof, yikes, wish I didn't do that. That's certainly how I feel about my freshman year. It's even kind of similar to some of the mannerisms I tried back then, where you're just like constantly smoldering at every opportunity. He's channeling an anime villain persona here, where he's like intellectually above everyone else on like a different plane, like, oh, yes, I am playing Elvis, the 50s, 60s, 70s famous person, and it is going chillfully. Absolutely, yes, of course.
The singer, songwriter, that sort of thing.
Now, Claimer, you're famous for your unique way of talking. We were just wondering how you developed this eloquent way of speaking.
Oh my. Well, I'm not entirely sure, actually. It just sort of happened. And I enjoyed it, and I just sort of stuck with it. The end.
He's going through such a wide range of emotions right now and conveying it all through so many different facial expressions. It's like playing LA Noire and trying to figure out if the person sitting across from you is lying or not. Like, he's striking so many poses. He's basically spamming Fortnite emotes, but with his face. I also get the impression that he's a bit nervous here for this interview. So when asked why does he speak like a Shakespearean villain about to reveal their plan, he doesn't really give an in-depth answer. He just basically says, oh my, well, I did it because I liked it and I wanted to.
All right, so we spoke to some of your friends, and they spoke a lot about some of the things you have in your pocket.
All good things, I trust.
Would you be willing to show us some of those things?
Well, since you asked so nicely, let's do it.
Perfect.
First off, we have my metal pocket, which is tied up in a Norwegian flag.
Okay.
Because I felt like it. We have, all sorts of different things here. First off, we have the thing that breaks the rule, a rock.
His pockets have their own rules. Man's got a perpetual domain expansion inside of himself, and he's able to bend the rules at his will. So in his metal pocket, he immediately pulls out a fucking rock. That's power. If any of you have been around the channel for a while, you'll remember a story I told about how I wanted to wear a Psychonauts disc, like the Xbox disc, around a chain and wear it around my neck, and that I also wanted to be carrying around decks of playing cards in my pockets so I could do magic tricks for women to try and impress them. That's the same energy I get from this guy's metal pocket. Like, he's just having that shit clank around going throughout the day, and maybe it piques someone's interest, like, brother, what do you got in your pocket there? You carrying around a little transformer and Autobot? What's all that metal banging going on? He's like, well, I'm cheerfully glad you asked, good sir. Let's take a peek at what's in this mysterious pocket. You know, one of those things. He sounds like the potion seller guy from that viral meme. It's very, like, it makes me feel like I'm back in my freshman year of college, because I was one step away from doing this same kind of shit. The only reason I never wore that Psychonauts disc or had my playing cards in my pockets is because Kaya told me it'd be a fucking terrible idea. So he saved me from being interviewed in a similar way and having that exist online forever.
This is a piece of an airplane. Oh, that would be just fine. This is a piece of a pocket watch.
Pocket watch?
Indeed. This is a piece of a gate.
A gate.
This is a car door.
Okay.
Peace sign.
Peace sign.
Indeed. Round thing.
So you carry all these things around in your pocket?
Yeah. Other round thing.
Unfortunately, he doesn't reveal the lore behind each piece of metal in that pocket. I bet each piece tells its own unique story, and he just didn't have time for it in the interview. I also wonder what the process is like for adding metal to that collection, because you can probably find metal all over the place. I wonder how picky he is. There's got to be some kind of intense process, but he doesn't really describe it very well either. Like, he just pulls out two things and calls it round thing. Imagine it did get really interesting though, like, this piece of metal comes from the Apollo spacecraft, this piece of metal's actually got a little bit of bone fragment on it because this was the bullet that pierced John F. Kennedy. Like, that'd be kind of cool. Then that metal pocket would have a lot of great value.
Do they ever come in handy?
Usually not. If it comes in handy, it goes in my other pockets.
Okay.
My regular pockets. These are just I enjoy them. For the novelty of it, don't you know?
Nothing puts me into a state of bliss, euphoria even, than hearing someone drop a, don't you know. That is fire. But it's a good explanation. You know, I like to carry these things in my pockets because I enjoy them. Fair enough. You'll get no argument from me, don't you know.
Now, you had a situation where you actually got stopped by the police, and they saw some of the things in your pocket. What did they say?
Well, first off, they weren't going to search me, but my metal pocket clanked against the car door, so they asked me to empty out all of my pockets. And one thing I carry around is a deck of tarot cards and some other things, I guess, that are strange. So while they were making the report, this was a verbatim quote. We've got an 18-year-old Caucasian male, driver's license number, my driver's license number. He's some sort of witch doctor.
Those disrespectful fools didn't even realize who they were dealing with. This is no witch doctor. This is clamor. And I'm sure they weren't prepared for the 30-minute process that ensued when they asked him to empty his pockets. I bet that shit just kept coming out like a clown that was pulling the rope from his mouth or whatever. Like, that shit probably dragged on for so long, the cops probably just got bored and left. They're like, listen, buddy, it's not that big of a deal. Just go about your day, pick up your shit, put it back in your pockets. Oh my god. But that's where the interview ends, but I've still got many questions for Claimer that may never be answered. Like I said, this is one of those things that really reminds me of myself, because to me, it feels like Claimer went into college trying to stand out from the crowd, come out of his shell, similar to me. We just chose different paths. I went with the mysterious anime character, so I basically didn't talk at all, which was absolutely the more alarming approach to things, and Claimer went down the Shakespearean, wise sage. And I just wanted to show this a little bit because it really did put me back in my freshman year of college when I first saw this. Like, damn, this was me, like 100%. We cut from the same cloth. But anyway, just wanted to share this. That's about it. So yeah. When you look at me, the first thing you probably think to yourself is, man, this guy likes to party. This looks like a guy who's not only super tall, but also breathes life into any hootenanny that he attends. And you'd be right to a certain extent. I used to enjoy the old shindig back in college. I'd go out pretty often.
And I saw a video today that reminded me of an extremely sad and embarrassing tale that I haven't thought of in a long time. So I'd like to show you the video that brought about this Winter Soldier episode within me, and then go over the video as well as this story that I'd like to tell.
Joe Burrow! Joe Burrow! You didn't even come close.
That's where the video ends, but I imagine he ran down the stairs, ran behind the house, started crying, and then just buried himself. Just fucking died there. It was so sad to see a man super excited to be getting tossed a beer. The local frat dudes were like, hey, this guy needs a fucking brewski. So they, fucking Amazon primed one. Now, it wasn't a great throw. That was definitely not a Joe Burrow caliber toss. And it nearly killed the guy. Fucking sent him over the rails for it. Because that guy was thirsty, right? And the only thing that quenched that thirst was butt chugging a Miller Lite across the street. So yeah, dude went ass over face, falling off the balcony, then hitting the deck and flopping like a fish down below. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this instant replay up on the Jumbotron, because I'm pretty sure this man exploded midair, like Mr. Potato Head. Just bits and pieces flying all over the place. His hat just got blasted off. I'm pretty sure he lost both of his shoes there. The G-forces damn near tore his clothes off as well. He was almost butt-ass naked by the time he hit the ground. Like, I don't know what went wrong, but there's just like so many clothing items that get lost on the small fall. But anyway, this brought out a repressed memory deep within me. It's something I haven't thought about in a while, and it made me very yucky feeling. I just cringed and thought it'd be something worth sharing with all of you before I once again locked that away forever, never to think about it again. This happened back in college before I retired from partying. I now no longer believe in fun at social gatherings, I guess. I just don't really party or anything anymore. And it was one of the first parties I had went to after getting to college. And I didn't really know anyone, of course, and I had already established myself as the weird, mysterious anime character, so I'm sure people had recognized me as a fucking psychopath before going to this party. So the fact that I showed up there probably already made people uncomfortable. I would have been in my sophomore year here, I imagine. I can't quite remember, but it was one of the first parties I went to, and that was like the only time I started going out. So I'm at this party, it's a house party, and there's a pool. They have a keg, they even have like a live band performing inside. It was just some like butt rock band that I'm assuming the members were students at the school. It was going all out, and as the night continued, I didn't really interact with many people, pretty much anyone aside from Andrew, who I went with. And, it wasn't getting a whole lot done, I wasn't drinking that much or anything, but towards the end of the night, as people started getting a bit sloppy, they started doing beer-catching trick shots. And it was cool. And I, at this point, thought, this is my chance. This is my time to shine. I can stand out and make friends by being the guy that makes a cool beer catch. Even though I'd never, caught a fucking Mach 5 thrown beer, because they were going hard. They're doing behind the back tosses, behind the back catches, and just fucking throwing that shit as hard as they possibly can and seeing if someone can catch it. And I was like, this is it. This is how I finally make a name for myself here. And one of the tricks that they did that I thought would be, my time to hop in is they were doing it over the pool. So they were doing cool between the leg tosses over the pool, and someone would go in, do a 360 and catch it before hitting the water. Then they'd come out, pop it open, and chug it like stone cold. They didn't shotgun it, so kind of pussy shit, if I do say so myself now. Hindsight's 20/20. But anyway, I thought, this is it. I know I can front flip into this pool. I knew I could do it, and I thought it'd be the coolest thing those eyes had ever seen. I thought everyone would be uproariously cheering me, going wild, holy fuck, this dude just front flipped into the pool and caught a beer. I was running through this fantasy in my head. I was like, yep, this is how I do it. I'm gonna be the coolest fucking dude on campus. So I teed up at the end of the pool, I'm queuing up, I'm ready. Everyone's still around the pool, cheering on cool catches, booing misses, and I knew that this was my time to shine. No one's paid any attention to me up until this point. No one is looking at me on the end of the pool there. So in order to get their attention, I start clapping, hey, I'm ready. Toss me the pigskin. Give me the rock. I'm ready. Feed me. So I'm clapping, trying to get their attention. The dudes that are tossing the beers, setting up the trick shots. And then eventually one of them does look at me. And without a second thought, the second we lock eyes, I just do a front flip into the pool, barely, mind you, and I have my arms straight up, and I don't finish the whole rotation, so I end up on my ass with my hands up in the air, and no one throws a beer. So I just fucking shittily front flip into the pool. It looks like I'm probably drowning, like a ship going down as the sail slowly keeps sinking because my arms are above the water. I've already failed my front flip, so now I'm just sinking in shame. I pop up, there's no beer, and no one's even looking at me. I don't even get a boo. Nobody cared at all. It was the saddest fucking moment of my life. Like, if someone had just given me, like, a pity, woohoo, or like, aw, something, I would have been like, okay, not all is lost. But I got literally nothing. Straight up crickets. And then some other dude did a trick shot into the pool, and they loved that. Meanwhile, the fucking socially inept turbo virgin on the other side gets fucking nothing. And I don't remember exactly what happened next, but I can't imagine we stayed much longer, because I do remember getting into the taxi soaking wet. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to air dry. I imagine what happened is Andrew felt my pain and was like, Charlie, let's get the fuck out. But I guess I just blacked out from cringe at that point because I can't complete the story. I just remember that, and man, it was sad. So yeah, this video really brought that demon back, brought that evil out of me, and I just wanted to share it with all of you because, you know, I don't want to think about it again past this point. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Anime is a word that inspires confusion, fear, and boners. On the surface, it's just another form of entertainment, but what it actually is a weapon. And like all weapons, there's the potential for misuse. This is the story of how I misused anime in my first year of college, and potentially led the entire student body to believe that I was some type of fucking lunatic who was one bad Naruto episode away from crashing his car into the side of the on-campus gym. It all started in high school. I was pretty reclusive, I didn't go out much, but I did watch a lot of anime, and it taught me two very important lessons. The first being, the power of friendship is the strongest force in the universe that not even God himself can compete with. Friendship probably led to the Big Bang creating our fucking universe. The second lesson being, the mysterious guy is always the coolest guy that big-titted girls want to fuck, and smaller-titted girls want to fuck. And I really took that lesson to heart, and I super shouldn't have. Absolutely not. But I did. And what happened is, as I graduated high school, I realized that college was my chance to really reinvent myself and change what people think about me, my perception, because no one knows about me. In high school, everyone knew me because I went to a small school, so I couldn't exactly just kick down the door one day sporting a leather jacket and riding a Harley Davidson and have everyone think I was super cool all of a sudden. They'd probably just think I was possessed by the spirit of a 40-year-old father going through his midlife crisis. But in college, nobody knew me, so I could be anything I wanted to be. And man, I wanted to be the anime mysterious guy. And holy shit did it lead to a very embarrassing and lonely first year of my college. So my college anime opened up with an incredible season opener, just a beautiful introduction. On move-in day, the literal first time setting foot in college soil, being an adult, a full-grown, full-hairy, penised adult on a college campus. On move-in day, I had my dad helping me. And going to my dorm, moving in the elevator, there was a girl and her father who were moving in there on the same floor. And my dad was talking to her dad and her a little bit. I didn't say a word. I was too cool to say a word. My dad tried to throw me into the conversation. So he asked me a real softball question that even a toddler could fumble his way through. I don't remember exactly what he asked me, but it was something like, "Oh, are you excited to move into this dorm, Charlie?" And I'll never forget my response because I remember this verbatim. I said, "You know I can't talk about that, Dad." I don't know why I said that. I guess in my head I thought that she would think that was super fucking dope, like I was some type of super secret agent that can't talk about his opinions. But really it just came across like, wow, this is a guy that I should be afraid of. But at the time, it didn't register with me like that was a weird thing to say. I went through the rest of that day being really proud of that, like, damn, fucking nailed it in the elevator. College is gonna be great. I just expected, like, if we saw each other in the hallway, she'd just be overcome with ecstasy and just charge me like, "Charlie's son," and then give me a smooch on my smoochers. But in reality, as you can imagine, that never happened. And that was really just setting the tone for the rest of that entire year for me. I wanted to, and luckily Kaya talked me out of it, I wanted to put an Xbox disc of Psychonauts around a chain on my neck, so that way people would know that I like Psychonauts. It's not exactly mysterious because I'm kind of beating you on the urethra with, I like this, I'm clearly wearing it. But I was like, this is so different. This is totally what an anime guy would do, like the mysterious guy. Another thing that I wanted to do, and Kaya again talked me out of it, he really saved me from having an even more catastrophic freshman year of college, is I wanted to carry around a deck of cards and do magic tricks at house parties or just around campus to really make people be like, damn, that was cool. I need that guy's number. Who was that guy? That guy's super cool. Let's invite the magic deck guy back, the magic card trick guy. That super awesome and fun guy. I didn't end up doing that, but I did used to do some magic tricks at house parties, which is still embarrassing, but the cards were already there. I didn't bring them or like come up to people, hey, you want to see a fucking magic trick? They were at least there. It made sense at the time. But bringing them around like a mysterious guy, keeping them in like a Ziploc bag, there was no coming back from that. If I went down that destructive path, I'd probably be behind bars right now just from scaring the general populace. Like, what is this guy up to with this deck of cards? This is a maniac. Get him off the streets, this menace. But now let's talk about the things that the social savior Kaya wasn't able to prevent me from doing. One of the biggest ones that I can remember is I used to go to clubs because I obviously wasn't really getting invited to house parties. Because who's going to want to invite the guy who doesn't talk because he thinks it's cool not to? Like, I would blatantly just avoid answering questions in class. If I got called on, I'd just blow it off like, oh, yeah. I wouldn't even give like a yes or a no. I wouldn't be like no, I don't know the answer. I wouldn't even give the answer. I'd just be like, oh, yeah. Just like fucking mumble it out like I was fucking overdosing on Xanax. So obviously no one was going to come out of their way to invite me to a house party. No one got to know me my freshman year. So I'd go to clubs by myself. And one time, it was New Year's, and I had these light up New Year's glasses. And they were some pretty fucking cool glasses, not going to lie. And I was wearing them around my neck because they were so bright I couldn't really see. I was basically just flashbanging myself when I was wearing them normally with the lights going on and shit. So I had them around my neck. And this girl came up to me and started talking to me about them. And instead of like answering any of your questions, I was playing it the same way I did everything else. I just didn't say a word. She said something about my glasses, but she fucked up and called them a necklace. She said something like, I like your necklace. That's a cool necklace. They're glasses. How dare you fuck that up? But anyway, I just disregarded it and I stared at her blankly. Like a fucking robot whose programming just malfunctioned, or I just fell asleep standing up. But she kept trying to get me to talk to her, get me to open up. That goddamn hero, that trooper, she just kept really trying to pry me open, but it just wasn't happening. Getting me to talk and not be mysterious in my freshman year of college would be like trying to open up a dumpster and not have a wave of shit hit your nostrils. But she kept trying. She pulled out her shirt saying, do you like my shirt? And it said something like, short girls know how to have fun or something like that, or something to that extent. And I glanced at it and then I immediately went back to staring at her without commenting on the shirt or even saying a word. I didn't make a noise. I didn't even make like a caveman grunt, like a Tim Allen. I didn't do anything. I didn't make a single audible noise. So I was basically just a fucking statue there. She tried again. She said something else about my necklace, and this time it must have just struck a chord because I remember I pulled them off of my neck slowly and I put them on my eyes, and then I flicked them on the next setting, which was like this intense, glowing, like strobe light shit, like some blinding, banging strobe light shit. And then she walked away. I still didn't say anything because I just put them on my eyes and then turned that setting on and kept staring at her. So I don't blame her for walking away. And that was really when it hit me like, you know, maybe being the mysterious weirdo isn't going to pay off. But I still committed to it. I still kept going past that. That was New Year's, and we still had another 5 or so months of me being a odd, weird, anime-inspired, mysterious loser. There's really no other big events that really stick out to me. Just a bunch of small stuff that I kept doing throughout the entirety of my freshman year. Like if it was raining and everyone was like, oh fuck, it's raining and I forgot my umbrella, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'd walk right by them, just kind of like wiggle my way through them, and then I'd just walk out in the rain like I didn't give a shit, like I didn't even know it was raining. Like I'd pull out my phone, much to the detriment of my phone, just be like, oh, rain? Too mysterious to feel rain. I really don't know why I ever thought walking out in the rain looking like some kind of dumb asshole would be cool or mysterious, because it doesn't fit either category, but that was another thing I'd partake in almost every time it rained. The only other big event that I can really think of, one that I still think about and it keeps me up at night and really haunts my boners to this day, is when I took an art therapy course towards the second semester of my freshman year. I don't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't art therapy, but it was something similar. It was just an art class basically where you express yourself. And I thought it would be amazingly mysterious and really get girls' panties super fucking wet, just sodden panties being tossed at me. Is every assignment I tried to make it as dark and bland as possible. So one of the assignments being, what do you think of your friends? So you were supposed to do one about 12 friends. You make a drawing to represent each friend. And for mine, I did the same thing for all of them. It was a black box. I don't know why I don't know what at all was my thought process with that, but I just did 12 black boxes to represent all of my friends, and when I was supposed to present it, I gave them each a name, and I did name 12 friends. I'm kind of more acquaintances. I didn't really have any like super close friends or anything, but I did name 12 people that I knew and who also knew of my existence. And that just made me seem like I belonged in an insane asylum looking back on it. But at the time, I was like, oh, girls love the troubled artist, the mysterious troubled artist. This is beautiful. There's going to be tears in their eyes. I already know it. I'm going to get an A on this project. Spoiler alert, I didn't get an A because she thought I just blew it off and goofed on it. So I got a D because I at least turned something in. But even still, I drew 12 black boxes. That's some shit that you see in a horror movie. Like when the weird kid's scribbling shit on paper in a black crayon, and then you find out that the kid's actually a demon. That's that kind of shit that I presented to the class, and there's no doubt in my mind those students walked away deeply disturbed and afraid of me from that moment on. So, that's how I spent the entire first year of my college experience, emulating the anime mysterious guy. It wasn't until I moved out of my dorm and in with a new group of guys who put the kibosh on that shit and taught me how to be social, because they did not want to be living with some fucking weirdo that's trying to be an anime mysterious guy. So that's kind of that's how my first year of college went. The lesson to take away from this is don't emulate what you see on anime, because it's just not gonna fucking work unless you have some like superpowers that you might like, some really fucking cool superpowers. You might be able to get away with being weirdly mysterious, but I didn't. The only superpower I had was being below average male height. But if you have some cool superpowered shit, maybe you can emulate anime to some extent and still be cool, but I couldn't. But I wouldn't recommend it to most people, the non-superpowered people out there. To the people that aren't X-Men, don't try and be an anime mysterious guy. Don't be weird. That's it. See ya. It's been a little while since the last time I sat you down at the fireplace with my bathrobe slightly ajar to tell you an embarrassing story from the period in my life where I've LARPed as a fucking mysterious anime character. This was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, so like freshman, early sophomore year of college, and I've told many a pathetic story from this sad compendium of miserable social ineptitude, and there's one I haven't shared with you that I thought I'd share today. This was actually the first date I ever went on, like first official date. I'll just give you a brief lore update for those that haven't seen any of the other videos. Back in early college years, I thought it'd be great to reinvent myself as a mysterious anime character in real life. It worked for the anime characters. Girls were always trying to constantly like gobble on their meat. And so I thought, well, if it worked for them, it could work for me. So I wanted to be like super unique. I wanted to wear a chain with my favorite video game disc on it, Psychonauts. So just be like a fucking chain with Psychonauts on it. I also refused to talk to people. So if people talked to me or asked me questions, I'd respond with like moans and grunts instead of words. And it was really goofy shit. Like talking to me would be like talking to an NPC in Banjo-Kazooie where they just respond with that's how I would pretty much respond to shit, or just complete silence. I have no doubt a lot of people on campus probably reported me to authorities as a potential threat to the university in those early year and a half, however long I spent doing that. But I eventually grew out of it. But during this time, I actually did get a date. My first real official date. Now, while this was my first date, it wasn't like I was a completely kissless virgin. I was a virgin who had been kissed once. It was a dare. A girl was once dared to kiss me because that was seen as such a punishment that in a truth or dare game, they made it a dare to kiss me. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is my time to shine. Probably pre-came and shit my pants at the same time. But anyway, I managed to get this date because a friend of mine from high school actually invited me to a party. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and they invited me out to go drink with them. At the time, I was completely straight edge. I didn't want to touch drugs. I didn't want to touch beer. I also wasn't even sure I ever wanted to lose my virginity. I was starting to think it might even be best if I didn't. But they invited me to this party, and I was still in this mysterious anime phase, and he invited me to play beer pong with him, and I was like, well, as long as I don't drink. And he's like, fuck it, Charlie, I'll just drink for you. Just fucking play with me. And I was like, sure, let's go. So we were playing, and then eventually his friends called him to do like a keg stand or something, so I needed a partner, and a girl hopped in to play with me. And I didn't say a fucking word to her. And I guess that must have been cool enough because she started talking to me, and then I eventually like mumbled out like, "Do you want to go to the beach?" And she said yes. She gave me her number and we set up a beach date for the next day. And my God, I don't even think I slept that night. I remember that night after the party, I went back to the dorm and I was just busting out hundreds of crunches and like bicycle crunches and shit, trying to sculpt out my abs speedrun style. I didn't eat, I only drank a ton of water, just trying desperately to get my six pack to pop out a bit more. I was a lot leaner back then because all I focused on was being like ripped, but my arms were super skinny, so I just kind of looked like an actual poorly drawn anime character physique-wise. Nowadays, I'm just actually fucking jacked, but back then I was like, all I need is abs, and girls will want to fuck me real good. So I'm in my dorm for hours just fucking doing an impromptu P90X routine till the sun comes up, and I text her, she doesn't respond, I start to panic, I texted her again, still didn't respond, I'm fucking freaking out, I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined it, I fucking blew it, holy shit, it's all over, she hates me, she probably reported me to the police because I was creepy, oh my fucking God. I text her again, I fucking triple texted her, literally the worst possible thing you could do. She finally responds just saying she was sleeping, and then I realized that that's probably about par for the course because it was like 9 a.m. I was like, it's fucking like Saturday, and I'm texting her at 9 a.m. like 1,000 times. It stands to reason that she might just be sleeping in. Fucking having a manic episode in the text messages there at 9 a.m. and then she still agrees to meet with me. She's like, yeah, we're still down for the beach, let's go. So we meet at my car. I play my boner jams, which was a real risk for me because the music I listened to then and the music I still listen to now isn't really popular. It's mainly like metal and shit like that. And luckily she likes that music. In fact, she even knew some of the bands like Cybreed. She likes Cybreed, which is still my favorite band right now. So that was cool, but I'd never done small talk or anything. So I didn't know how that was supposed to go. And I think she was picking up on that, so she took the initiative to talk to me. So she asked me, hey, did you have fun at the party last night? I said, nope. Which is a great response because, I mean, that's super cool. Like, hey, this guy is so goddamn badass. He didn't have any fun last night. But I do remember saying the only cool thing about the party was meeting you. I was like, that's kind of suave. So I hit her with that bit of smooth ass cheeks right there, to which she didn't really say anything. At least I don't remember her saying anything. Maybe she had just gotten completely sodden panties and, that's probably what happened. But she continues, standard stuff. What's your major? At the time it was digital arts. This was before I switched. Do you like digital arts? It sounds cool. What is that? And I was like, I fucking hate it. It's just making 3D animations. It sucks. So I'm just constantly doing my best to ruin any kind of positivity. That whole car ride was basically like condensed pessimism on wheels. And so she just keeps asking me these questions to which I'm giving like the worst responses to imaginable, convinced like the anime characters I've seen before that being different or being negative is cool to women, which it's definitely not. But she eventually gets to the dagger. What do you do? Like, she probably assumed I had like a job or something because she did. So she's like, well, what do you do for work? What do you do? And I was like, can't get into that. It's a secret. Which obviously piqued her interest because, like, what the fuck does that mean? Am I like a CIA spy? Am I a hitman? Assassin? Like, what the fuck is that? She's like, well, what do you mean it's a secret? It's like, I just can't get into that. I can't talk about it. So she keeps poking the sleeping bear. She's like, well, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you do? And eventually I'm like, I make videos on the internet. Keep in mind, this is 2013. The idea of being a YouTuber was a foreign concept back then. I'd also never told anyone about this. I never said out loud that I made videos online. I always kept that like my biggest top secret. I never ever talked about it, but in this instance, I was fucking desperate. I was pulling out all the stops. I was emptying my pockets of all the possible fucking spaghetti I could fill on the floor, vomiting anything that might help my chances of getting me laid. I would have told her I was Santa Claus if I thought it would help my chances of getting my cock wet. I was just going all out. Just this once. Just trying. So I told her I make videos on the internet, and she laughed at me, which just felt phenomenal. She thought I was just kidding because I had hyped it up so much to that grand wet fart of a reveal. She was probably just relieved more than anything because she probably thought I was a psychopath with the way I was answering, but I dropped that nugget of truth on her, and at the time, like I said, this wasn't really anything anyone talked about. Like, YouTuber wasn't a thing back then. Most of the most popular shit was like Facebook pages that people knew, And when it came to YouTubers, most people only knew like the biggest ones. The big one back then that I remember most people talking about was Epic Mealtime. And I also remember even things like I'm Schmacked were kind of big back then. But other than that, there wasn't a ton else that college students would think of when they hear of internet content creator YouTuber. So she didn't really find that all that impressive, and I've never treated it like a job or anything, but I just thought it was going to be a good answer to that question, one that she probably hadn't heard before, and she probably never did hear it before because she just straight laughed at it, which it didn't make me feel like my chances were being helped. She thought that I was just making like a joke out of it because I just made it like this hyped up thing, like, no, it's a big secret. It's a fucking government secret. I'm not allowed to say it. If I say it, the government's gonna come fucking kill me. And then I just reveal like I make fucking gameplay and commentary videos on YouTube. So she giggled at that, and then she asked what the channel was, so I showed it to her when we parked. I brought up the channel, and at the time, the channel video that would autoplay was my titty simulator game, which of course was a kind of weird look, so I bring that up. At the time I had like 800,000 subscribers, which is a fucking ton, and she was impressed by the number, but the content itself I don't think she was too fond of, because it was titty simulator, with me talking about fucking honkin' milkers being dragged around by their nipple, and then some of the other related ones were other weird games like Don't Shit Your Pants and things. So she didn't really want to stay on the channel that long, but she said congratulations to me, and I was like, well, okay, it didn't really work very well, now did it? So we finally arrive at the beach. Confidence is shot. I can tell that this mysterious anime character facade's not doing me any favors. So we end up just going to like a pretty crowded area on the beach at Clearwater, and just laying down, and she played music with her earbuds in. and I just kind of laid there, pretending like this was productive. Like, yeah, I'd always wanted a tan. I'll just fucking lay here with my ass cheeks hanging out, I guess. Why not? And just fucking sit there doing nothing while she's listening to music at the beach. At the end of it, I just kind of felt like I was an Uber driver who stayed a little too long. Like, she requested a ride, but then I had nothing else to do, so I also just went to the same destination. So we just kind of stayed there for like an hour, and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to head back. I'm kind of hungry. I didn't even bother asking if she wanted to get food with me, because I could already just pick up on the vibe here that it wasn't really going anywhere. So we go back, and then she hugged me, and I was like, fuck, it was all worth it. I got a hug. Let's go. Woo! So I got a hug out of it, which means I was a champion that day, but we never talked again, surprisingly. And that's how my first date went. So overall, pretty successful. Got off to a great start, really, in the whole romance world. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I also think it's a pretty interesting look at how things have changed recently, because back then, YouTuber wasn't even a word in anyone's vernacular. No one had ever really like heard of that before. It wasn't really an explored concept, just kind of like this emerging hobby that some people would pick up on. But nowadays, I think it's like 60% of kids want to grow up to be like a YouTuber or internet creator, which is wild. So in less than a decade, it has completely changed. But back then, yeah, that shit was not looked at too positively. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story because I haven't done this one before, and I thought it was worth sharing. That's about it. See ya.